John, once again, congratulations to you and your team. At the conclusion of the evening, we're all going to head out and count trees. I'm going to help John out tonight and see if we can get a more accurate count. The final award of the evening, this is it. Or is this is IT? No, this is it. That is correct. Travis VanderZanden, Startup Entrepreneur Award. Yes, he was unable, unfortunately, to personally attend this evening due to a conflict, but he is well represented by Bird COO Stephen Schnell, who's here tonight. Our third award winner of the evening is the founder and CEO of Bird. Who took a bird to get here this evening? All right. Excellent. Bird, a last-mile electric vehicle sharing company dedicated to bringing low-cost, environmentally friendly transportation options to communities. Did I get that right? There are not many one-year-old companies that can lay claim to having a $2 billion valuation and upending the ride-hailing industry entirely. And then again, Bird is not your ordinary company. Based in UCLA's next-door neighbor of Santa Monica, last spring, Bird largely responsible for the proliferations of electronic scooters everywhere. You see them on the streets, lawns, on your sidewalks, and that includes the huge popularity of Birds right here on the UCLA campus. But students, with more than 2.1 unique riders, over 10 billion rides, and expansion from 5 cities in just May of 2018 to now over 100 cities, including Paris and Tel Aviv. Travis's fascination with transportation began as a child in Appleton, Wisconsin, where his mom drove a public bus. Since then, he's been at the forefront of transportation, serving as the CEO of Lyft and as a senior executive in charge of international growth for Uber. Prior to founding Bird, Travis worked as Chief Revenue Officer at Yammer Incorporated from 2009 to 2011, and then left to co-found a company called Cherry, which was an on-demand car wash service. That company was acquired by Lyft in 2013, and Travis was brought in as the Chief Operating Officer. He left Lyft for Uber in 2014 and became the Vice President of Global Driver Growth until 2016. Travis founded Bird in the summer of 2017. The company deployed its first scooters that September before raising $15 million Series A round of financing in February of this year. The company has now raised more than $414 million over the last 18 months. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me now in welcoming our Executive Leadership Award winner for the Startup Entrepreneur category, Bird's COO, Stephen Schnell, on behalf of Travis, and Bird's Senior VP of Communications, Rebecca Hahn.
Test.
Says on.
Mine's working.
Well, then you go.
Well, Is this a little bit too close now? A little loud. So I think I know Travis. We spoke this afternoon, and I know he wishes he could be here to accept this award. Travis and I are both. We've been working at Bird, and we've been working together for some time. As you listed off all the places that Travis has worked, I was thinking about the fact that I've also worked at all those places with Travis. So I've been trying to ditch Travis for some time, and I have failed to do so.
Steve can't quit him.
I can't quit Travis, but we've had the good luck to work together, and so I know Travis very well, and I know that this award means a lot to him, and he wishes he could be here.
And thank you to Debbie, Dawn, and Rafi for having us here tonight. We thought we would jump in after a video. I'm glad we had a video. It was the thing to do this evening. So honored to be here. I thought we could just go over a couple of questions that Rafi helped prepare for us. They're questions that I think were asked often at Bird. So with that, I will ask Steve, what led Travis to start Bird, and what problems does Bird solve?
That's a good question. These are questions that we get on a regular basis. So Travis, I think I'll let Travis really tell the story of how he came up with the idea to found Bird. But one of the things that I can really comment on is what is the purpose of Bird and why does Bird exist? And so for us, we've both worked, or a lot of us at Bird have worked in the rideshare industry and have cared deeply about transportation and how to fix transportation. How do we make transportation better? How do we make cities more livable and easier to get around in? And in today's world, as more people move into cities and as cities get denser, it's more and more difficult to get around. So Bird's purpose and what drives us every day is how do we make cities better places to be, and electric scooters is the first one of the problems that we're going to solve.
And maybe we can use electric scooters to count trees throughout the city as well.
I was thinking that.
Great. So Bird has grown exponentially since it was first founded just about a year ago. Was disruption a key driver of the company's decisions and strategies?
That's a good question as well. I get questions about disruption. How do you build companies that are disruptive? And I think for me, it's kind of a strange question because I haven't worked in a space where I wasn't just I wasn't what we call disrupting the world. And so for every idea that is an idea that is going to make an impact on the world, there's always some form of disruption. And there's pros and cons to disruption, but what we've found with if you are on to a good idea where you're really solving a problem, then sometimes you do cause some disruption. I don't think that there are any big ideas that aren't disruptive in their sense. So
You're not doing it right if you're not disrupting.
That's true.
Now let's nerd out for a minute. What challenges have you encountered with developing the technology?
There's so many challenges. Bird in itself is a very complicated. So I run operations, and so I think about all of these are nerdy things. So I'll try to keep us at. I'll try not to bore you with all of the operations, but running Bird is very complicated, and the operations of having hundreds of thousands of assets or vehicles out in the world, all over the world, making sure that they're charged and in the right place at the right time is an interesting and complicated, hard problem. It's one of the problems that without using technology would be almost impossible to solve. So almost everything that we do is driven by technology and data, and I spend most of my time in my office looking at maps and charts and graphs, and working with teams to make sure that we can continue to do the service, make sure the service is working well for everybody. Yes.
Last question. How do you envision transportation in LA in the future? Was it like the video we just watched?
I think that's the near term. So we were talking a little bit about it earlier at dinner, but I think I could see the future of Los Angeles near term looking more like colleges, where there are cars. Cars are obviously in the equation, but people are getting around in different ways, and not just cars. I could see a world where we have a lot more green spaces and less roads. But that, I think, is in the near term. When I think about the long term in startup years or bird years, thinking about when the Olympics arrive, that feels like 100 years away for me. Really, I think it's 10 years or so. I could see in 10 years, we will have a world where we'll have driverless cars driving around. We'll have multiple different lanes of speed, where you have people who are walking. It's like a slow speed, and then maybe bicycles and birds and other vehicles that are medium speed, and then we have a high speed driverless car lane. And as well as I always feel a little like this is a little bit weird when I talk about it, but I think we're very close to a world where we will have cars flying in the air. I know that we're only a few years away from a test.
His tinfoil hat is behind the chair.
Transportation is a really interesting space, and it drives all of us, because in the next couple of years, when I say couple, like the next 10 years or so, so much will change for all of us on how we get around the world.
Great. Thank you. And happy
Thank
40th.
you. Thank you. Yeah.
So a few more awards to give out before we close the evening out. Thank you all so much for attending. I hope you guys have found this as enjoyable as I have. This is kind of the baby that that I love to come to every single year. I did want to invite Steve Long to come up from App Dynamics. He's our network sponsor and we actually have an award for you tonight. So I didn't know if you knew that. Come on up. Yep. You want to come?
Sure, thank you.
Thank you so much. No, thank you. And I don't know if Frank is prepared to come back up on stage. You want to come on back up? Okay. Frank is so he has a great voice, but he's a long-term friend and family of the IS Associates. He never hesitates every year to come to this event and do what he does so well every night, which is treat our awardees with the utmost respect and do a great job for us. So I want to thank Frank from the bottom of my heart, because he always does a great job. Sometimes he doesn't return my calls, but if you text him, he'll get right back to you. So thank you so much.
Yep.
And I'd like to invite Michael Keithley up. He is our incoming chair of the board for 2019. He has been a very significant influence on the committee and the decisions, with great ideas, and always keeps us current and keeps us always thinking about what to do next. So thank you, Michael.
Thank you, Debbie. It's an honor to be taking over from Ron next year to chair this organization. I want to thank the sponsors, Druvia and Nth. We couldn't do it without you guys. Thank you so much. I want to congratulate all the winners, Jeff Daly, John Ricker, and Stephen on behalf of Travis. And finally, I really want to thank everyone for being here and really helping us celebrate our 40th anniversary. And I look forward to all of you helping us with the next 40 years, which I hope will be as good as the past 40 have been. So with that, I will close this. And once again, thank you, and please drive safely.